Hey, how's it going? We are continuing a series where we're taking a look at different economies in the world, different governments, and how those governments are operating. If anything, we're taking a look at the budget and how budget can potentially be allocated. We're taking a look at 100%, not entire like sum of money, but 100% of the budget as a pie, I guess. And we're taking a look at some allocation of that budget. So some of those governments they say, "Oh, we have a massive budget. Whatever you have, it's good. It's good. Keep having that. Whatever you're doing, right?" We have a massive amount of debt, or whatever is going on, right? Either way, it's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is 2% perhaps of that budget should be allocated for defense industry and military, or perhaps that's another way to put it. And perhaps, my personal opinion, more of the country should allocate 2% or to research and development. That's the case that I'm trying to make. By doing that, perhaps they could improve all the areas within that budget, if that makes sense, and perhaps help surrounding governments as well. That's the case what I'm trying to make. So I'm covering top 10 and within this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Germany. There's a recent report that was done on Germany. I don't know how accurate this report is, but let's take a look. It's very recent. There's a lot of things happening within Germany. I don't know if those things are being reflected within this report, right? Since Germany as a country looking to stop using nuclear as energy, so they are importing a lot of cheap ways of producing energy, as well because of the legal requirements, environmental requirements. They might outsource some of the other areas, including chemical production and or perhaps support other markets, if that makes sense. Not necessarily. So Germany is making a lot of moves, as well as a lot of other nations looking to export their working business models within Germany. I have covered some of those projects already. How they importing their own business and investing in Germany. Some of those American companies. But either way, so it's a lot of happening, right? And I already know it's all going to be reflected in this report. There's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of drama. I'll try to ignore. I'll try my best ignoring all the drama and focusing on the things that will last and some of those investments that are being made. But not necessarily when it comes to increase in taxes, they would rather focus on drama and giving reasoning why would they increase the taxes for taxpayers, but not necessarily increase taxes on those international companies who are moving into Germany. Not increasing that, but increasing taxes for taxpayers. There is a report that has been done on Germany, and overall, its current economy and overall country's report. That's the way how they described it, and they're highlighting about some of the challenges that currently is happening within the world with everything what's happening around Germany within Europe, which is definitely has impact, but not necessarily it's not necessarily being accurately reflected within this report. I'll attach, if anything, without going too much into detail, bringing more attention away or from what's happening right within the Germany. It's not necessarily a very accurate report, if anything. I'll share this report for within the description for everyone who is interested in reading for themselves in more detail. GDP has now recovered beyond pre-pandemic levels, but the economy is still feeling the impact of Russia's war on aggression against Ukraine. They're saying that Germany is feeling that. How the Germany is feeling that? Are we talking about numbers or we're talking about feelings? If we're talking about feelings, well, the Germany is not feeling anything. Perhaps two or three people writing down this report feeling something, but not Germany. Germany is not feeling anything. Next one. High inflation is eroding purchasing power and putting pressure on firms. That's more accurate. Okay, okay. In particular, if they, in particular, doing a lot of business with U.S., right, which is eroding its own currency, and with everything what's happening in the U.S. has impact on Germany's economy since the dollar, right, and or moving from euro into dollar, and then purchasing power of dollar has a lot of impact as number one currency, all of that, right? Since there's a lot of operations of something like Germany is doing, it's not necessarily limited only within Germany. So it's on the world market. That's more accurate. The labor market is tight, within firms experiencing major labor shortages. At around 80% of employment rates for 2022 remain robust and one of the highest in EU. The unemployment rate has been at historically low levels at around 3%, significantly below the EU average of 6%. All these numbers not necessarily accurate. I have read those reports in more detail. The way how they would classify numbers of people just to shift and change and, and do gymnastics when it comes to improving those numbers. So I've read some of those reports. Those, I don't know. I'm trying to cover that in much more detail. Something what would be considered unemployed, because and what and who would be considered economically inactive, and those definitions and what's happening. I don't know. So it's good that if there's any struggle out there in Germany, there's a lot of opportunities. If anything, there's a lot of opportunities, and people out there within Germany know that. And I'm not entirely sure about all these figures, all these numbers. This is within the report. Perhaps those people would skip and dodge and jump over just to fit within particular number, but those numbers not necessarily as accurate as it should be. If you need more proof about some of those figures, some of those numbers, and overall definitions, recently we changed definition for recession. So that's a proof. If people need a proof, recently we changed definition of what is to be classified as recession. So less people would even use this word just because they have changed definition for it. So again, then we take a look at something as unemployment. We keep skipping and jumping and looping and changing everything, so it not necessarily would reflect actual numbers. so, so when we talk about spreading misinformation, all of that. So let's stick to that they're doing a lot of gymnastics over there when it comes to definitions of words. Perhaps some of the more accurate numbers that would be a deep review for Germany. The current account balance fell from 7.7% in 2021 to 4.2% of GDP in 2022. Throughout, the key factors was a surge of energy prices because they had to use energy of different sources, right? Because they do not have nuclear. That would be one of those factors, as well as they perhaps were outsourcing some of the services to other countries, and if they had at any point used dollar, that had a massive impact, as well as doing business with some of those governments, large governments within the world, and or increase of oil prices, many factors, right? So it's very hard to put a finger on what exactly had a large impact, but there was a lot of things. So we're not looking to point fingers to blame any particular country, because I can give you 10 reasons for every single country and what they did not necessarily best for everyone, but perhaps within their own interests and everything what was happening within those countries, right? Throughout, the key factors was the surge of energy prices. The decrease was also the result of strong rise in imports of non-energy goods and services. I would classify it as input costs. So input. So when it comes to manufacturing, since Germany manufactures a lot of goods, right? Input costs. So raw materials, everything what would need energy, everything input to manufacture physical goods, increased cost. If that makes sense. So that cost increased, so energy usage, raw materials, all those input costs increased. By doing that, increased all the prices. But they not necessarily can increase the prices for, or pass down all the prices to the end consumer very fast, right? The value of currencies, a lot of things that was happening as well within the world with some of those governments. So a lot of things were happening at the same time. So that would be a more accurate reflection of what was happening without. I don't know who written this report, right? Well, I understand what they're trying to shift the blame. There's some propaganda and marketing fit into something that was paid by taxpayers in the first place. So good job with that. Keep on doing what you're doing. I don't know who's reading those articles. So you think people don't know what they're actually reading? I don't know. I don't know who hire those people. I hope I'll find names in the end of this article so I can bring perhaps those people to be more accountable on some of the information that they share. Source is coming from European Commission again. So we're shifting people who written this report, and there's nobody to be held accountable for some of the sources and misinformation that is spread out there. So if anything, let's keep those people, European Commission, accountable and put some names. And perhaps if there was commission, it was a team. Who was responsible for that team, right? If it was 4 or 5 people, great. Who was responsible for those 5 people? Let's share this person name. Who was responsible for sharing this misinformation? And from there, perhaps then we can build a perfect society and something that they're looking to achieve within the European Union. Let's take a look at research and development. There are considerable differences in research and development expenditure between the region. Research and development expenditure was particularly high in Braunschweig, representing 7.8% of GDP in 2019, largely because it hosts the Volkswagen Group's headquarters. The Stuttgart 7.3% was overall above 3.2%. And currently, some information I managed to find on Wikipedia that currently Germany as a nation is at for 3.3%, right? So depending on the region, there might be higher or slightly lower, but overall as a nation is around 3.3% of its GDP spent on research and development. Large percentage of that is coming from some of those automotive companies, large companies within Germany who are producing vehicles in many southern regions. Dresden and Berlin, research and development expenditure was lowest, less than 1.5% in GDP in many western regions, and was below 1% in the last development western region of West Ems, Lüneburg, Trier, and Kobers. So it's some of the data coming from there. That there's a lot of things happening within Germany. Not necessarily this kind of data is available, right? For people who are paying attention, some of those things even happening within UK, where a lot of even house prices, and particularly starting with the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of prices in the north of UK went down, or it got cheaper, right, in the north. So a lot of people from the south of UK receive a lot of incentives, purchase a lot of housing in the north, or move there for whatever reason, perhaps different employments, different opportunities. So things like that happening all the time, and some of the research and development data that I'm looking at, there might be a lot more information that myself not necessarily would have access to. In particularly, if we're taking a look at some of those numbers as, for example, labor force, and then I'm covering Berlin and research and development work completed within the Berlin region, right? So perhaps people would move away from there, then they would fight for something like a labor force, right? So away from Berlin to other regions, if that makes sense, where more or larger pool of skill labor force, for example, that would be one of those factors, right? Would be, and then you can establish your workforce or facilities factors there, if that makes sense, and then you can develop all the network and or different facilities, businesses there, not necessarily within Berlin. That would be more information, not necessarily like raw data that not necessarily give full picture of everything what's happening within UK or being to be covered within this particular report that I will be reading. Yourself, if you're interested in learning more, I have published a journal inflow within this journal, I'm focusing a lot on different routines and how you should work to establish those routines. If you were to begin something and you would not necessarily be able to progress within a matter of 1 or 2 days, right? So you should focus on developing or building a habit. If you were to work from cover to cover, that would give something that would give you enough time to build a habit that will last. Every page is like a window, right? So within every window, 24-hour window, you would need to accomplish particular goals, right? With that window, some of those areas or key areas that would be things to do. Some of those metrics would be personal development, professional development, physical activity. Some of those very important areas is something to begin with. You can find in this journal in QR code in the corner or company's website below. Myself, I'm very interested. In particular, someone who Germany who understands who is, who has feelings, right? Germany has a lot of feelings. So that's how we started this video about Germany and the feelings that Germany has. Beyond pre-pandemic levels, that the economy is still feeling the impact. So economy is feeling the impact, right? So economy is something of the feelings that the German economy has. I wish the German's economy would feel a little bit better. It's something that myself, when it comes to engineering, manufacturing, something I do understand very well, and hopefully to do great things with the Germany since it might feel a little bit better later. Hopefully, I need to send a card or something. I guess I don't know, so it would feel a little bit better. I don't know the address. Where is the German address? I'll send a card. I have reached out to a number of those institutions. I did that for a couple of days now in a row. Hopefully, there are a lot of different networks within Germany. I'm looking to do business together. Hopefully, it's something that we can do together in the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.